Okay, let's talk a little bit about the quality of the M11-D, its features and its operation. If you're familiar with Leica rangefinders, none of this will be a surprise to you. We have the rangefinder window on the back, we have the shutter speed dial on the top, we have the aperture ring on the lens, we have the thumb dial here, which can do different things depending on how you set the camera up, and you focus, again, using the rangefinder, matching the images in the little window so that they overlap. There's your focus. So that is very much a familiar thing to anybody who knows this camera. The camera itself has a 60 megapixel sensor. It's the same backside illuminated triple resolution sensor that you'll find in the M11 and the M11-P. So that sort of resolution is great if you do really big prints like I do. Here's one coming out of my printer, and the detail is just astonishing with 60 megapixels. I just cannot tell you just how good these prints look, even with your nose pressed right up against the print. It's superb. All of this is powered by the Maestro 3 processor, which captures those pixels and processes them and copies them onto the card as quickly as possible. The camera, of course, is made in Germany, as are all the M series cameras. These controls are all very familiar, of course, but the function button here in the top right-hand corner works quite differently to the other cameras. In the viewfinder, this button will trigger some information, and it cycles through that information each time you press it. So the first time you press it, you'll see how many shots are left. Then you've got things like the battery life. You've got whether the communication protocol is set to computer or to app. You've got the content authenticity initiative can be turned on or off, and so on. So it gives you access to certain basic functions. If you want access to more settings in the camera, you will need to use the app, and I will address that in another video. Lastly, there's 256 gigabytes of internal memory built into this camera, and by using the function button, that's another thing it will do, you can swap between writing your images to the internal memory or to the SD card. So if you forget your card or you run out, you've got 256 whole gigabytes of memory available to you. So very, very nice addition to the camera. And I'll leave you with one thought. If you are not so confident with the rangefinder, but you really want to use this camera, there is a get out of jail free card, which is the Visor Flex 2, which does fit on this camera. And if I just take that little cover off, slot that on the top, then as soon as I turn the camera on, there we go, tilt that into position, and now I have an EVF to work with, which gives me that focus peaking magnified image for critical focusing. So think of it as your last resort if you're having trouble with the rangefinder. Obviously the rangefinder is very, very accurate, but some people find it a little hard to judge. The EVF is not as fast as the rangefinder, but you can critically see your point of focus much easier, and for images shot on lenses like the Noctiluxes, then this might be a necessary accessory for you to get hold of. Okay, well that's the operation of the camera in a nutshell. It's very simple, there's not an awful lot to talk about. Leica operates under the motto of Das Wesentliche, so the essential, and this camera absolutely epitomizes the essential. Nothing more than you need, but everything that you do need.